Hello everyone, again, PLG Disrupt Day 2, and we are so happy to have with us Jeremy Horn, VP, Global Head of Product Management at Cognizant. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, hello.
How are you today?
Doing good here from New York City.
Oh, nice, nice. So, Jeremy will talk about product-driven digital transformation, who is critical to the ongoing success of nearly every company. However, the vast majority of these transformation efforts fail. All too often, enterprises make the faulty assumption that digital transformation is simply about applying technology to existing processes, rather than about fundamentally changing the strategy and approach of their business. As the need to go digital and stay ahead of the competition accelerates for enterprises everywhere, companies are increasingly looking to product managers as the driving force behind any digital transformation in order to de-risk the effort and maximize both business and end user value. So now we have Jeremy who will present his insights and knowledge about this. And Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And everyone, welcome, and thank you for joining me. We're going to be talking about digital product management driven digital transformation, or as I like to think of it, supercharging your digital transformation with product management. But before we fully jump into everything, just allow me to just quickly introduce myself, tell you a little bit about me. Hello again. I'm Jeremy Horn. I'm also known as the product guy online if you're ever looking for me. I've been doing product management for well over 20 years now. I've founded 3 startups. I've worked in most every vertical there is out there. From media to network security, gaming, wearables, IoT, AI, etc. And right now, today, I can be found over at Cognizant, which is a leader in digital transformation with over 300,000 employees around the world. And my job is as the VP and global head of product management there. I'm very passionate about teaching and just spreading the word around of product management wherever I go, hence why I'm here today. But I've done everything from teaching over at Carnegie Mellon, the New School, developed the curriculum for product management at General Assembly. You often find me on events, podcasts, radio, a whole bunch of stuff. I love talking about product management, startups, the future of work, AI, and how they all kind of come together. Also the founder of a group called the Product Group. We're the world's largest product management meetup in the world. We have over 20,000 members here in New York. We have another group in London. I also run the Product Mentor organization. It's a free mentorship program for product managers all around the world, where we're in over 25 different countries today. I graduated from Carnegie Mellon with a bachelor's in computer science, so I do have a little bit of that in my blood. On the off chance that you hear children running around in the background, once in a while, my 5-year-old son Isaac might come running in, or my daughter Ada might come running in. One of them will want to talk to us about trains in outer space. The other one might be trying to eat whatever the other one's talking about. So I apologize if that does happen. And so I find myself today at Cognizant. I've worked in a lot of different places, and I've always been attracted to the opportunities and the capabilities of what the future can really hold. And what's been most fascinating to me, and why I am here at Cognizant, and what's relevant to a lot of this conversation, is the language of our time has intersected quite awesomely with that of product management. The language of our time, it's about how do I reduce risk? How do I find my users? How do I be a more nimble company and organization? And so right now, I think this is kind of the perfect time, and I'm so excited that Cognizant kind of had the vision to be able to be out in front around outcome-driven development, which at the end of the day is product management-driven development and efforts there. We have a really amazing opportunity at Cognizant. We have a really amazing opportunity to really change how people are thinking about products, but help everyone be that nimble company, that outcome-focused company, that company focused on generating value for their users, or reducing their costs, or just kind of staying ahead of the competition in a way that a lot of companies hadn't really thought about to this level until very recently. So today, what I'm going to do is we're going to start by talking about product management and just kind of give some background, go into a little bit of what is digital transformation, kind of walk you through a bit of this journey, and then why the heck are we mixing and blending product management and digital transformation, and how do you get real value out of that? But let's start at the fundamentals. Let's start at the beginning, and let's talk about, and let's just kind of make sure we're all on that same page. And what is product? What is a product? It's a question. It's one of those fundamental questions that we should all definitely start out on the same page. What is a product? What's an app? Is it an app? Is it a service? Is it a physical commodity? Anyone who's ever been to any of my meetups, and I've been doing them for well over 10 years, or any of the other types of events that I do, I always start explain. Everyone's a product. Most everyone's a product person. A product person is anyone who wants to make a product better. And then you kind of go, what is a product? A product is an item. It's a service. It's anything that you're trying to sell to satisfy a need for a customer, and sell an internal product, sell an external product, an item or a service. Your product might be people or your team if you're a manager. So you can also even take kind of a product management or product focus in a lot of different directions. What am I trying to do? Who are the customers? Who are the stakeholders I'm trying to help? Who am I trying to serve? Every single company at the end of the day exists for one sole purpose: to deliver the best possible products to their customers. More often than not, the success of these products hinges on the abilities of a product manager, where they may be. So when you get into it, what are those characteristics of a product manager? But let's kind of even zoom out a little bit from that. I'm often asked, where do great product what is a great product manager? Great product manager, especially when I'm looking at people, maybe if they're a little bit more junior, I'm trying to get the sense, is there a product manager in this person? And what I'm always thinking about, what I'm looking for is the answer when I say to them, do you want to be a product manager? And they say, and I ask why, and they say, I want to help people. And that's it. At the end of the day, product managers are problem solvers, and they're focused on the people. And the people and different people have different problems that, like I said, they could be cost, they could be revenue, they could be acquiring new customers, figuring out where their customers went, figuring out how to retain them, acquire them, all of this whole kind of full spectrum. But at the core, product managers that care about the people, that care about the user, that's what we're looking for. That's what you're looking for as like a core characteristic in a product manager. And that's why also when you're thinking about where do product managers come from, a lot of the time it's not from the most common places, not necessarily from the more technical fields, but they might come from psychology. They might come from anthropology. They might the study of people. If you like to study people and you're fascinated by people, that's really the great starting point. Characteristics of a product manager: they listen to the customer. They love to solve problems. They try to. They're curious. They're fundamentally curious people that are that basically are working to set that North Star vision, identify who the customers are, validate continuously that they're on track, constantly iterating with different experiments to make sure that the assumptions are validated or invalidated, the adjustments get made. So product managers love to leave things better than they found them. They're the people who look for opportunities, are singularly focused on listening to the customers and the stakeholders to really understand not what they're saying, but what the meaning behind what people are saying, what customers are saying, what business users are saying, their technical users are saying about the product. In short, a product manager is there to proactively search out issues, find them, find out what those real problems are, and conceive of ways to fix them. And even more importantly, that not even coming up necessarily with the specific features or ideas themselves, but bringing the right experts in, wherever they may be, in there to solve the problem at hand. And that's what's important. Product managers are people at the end of the day. And it's about, you set that North Star, you make sure you're on track for that North Star, but you bring in the right subject matter experts, whether it's a designer, whether it's a doctor, if you're working on a healthcare product, whatever that subject matter expertise is, AI expertise, whatever you might be working on. So bringing people in and creating that environment of innovation and then rapid evolution, rapid iteration and experimentation to get to the best outcome for the product, for the team, for the company. A great quote from Vice President of Product over at LinkedIn that I like to share with people is: a great product manager has the brain of an engineer, the heart of a designer, and the speech of a diplomat. And I almost should probably triple underline the speech of a diplomat. I think a lot of time as you kind of evolve in your career in product management, it becomes less about the strategy and more about making sure people understand and are aligned or on the same page. And by saying the brain of an engineer, it doesn't mean you have to have a computer science background. It doesn't mean you have to have a technical degree, but there's a logical aspect to product management, a part where you kind of try to take out some of that emotion and make more of those logical, cohesive decisions, experimentation, where you don't get wedded to any one particular idea, and you approach everything as dispassionately as possible. Product managers can bring unique value to an organization. They're the people who can make sure everything that's happening across the chain is gravitating, evolving directly towards generating that additional business value, that additional user value. They're the voice of the user within the business, looking at optimizing the experience with business objectives in mind. A great product manager thinks in terms of impact, of business impact. Is this going to wow our customers? Is this going to reduce our costs? Is this going to mean we've got that many fewer risks as we move forward? Will it move the needle on our own objectives? Will it move the needle on the key business objectives of the company that the C-suite, that the executive committee has set forth? Will it make us memorable? Will it make us indispensable? Will we stay ahead of the competition? And so that kind of sets the scene for a product manager. Now it's important that we understand and dig in a little bit on digital transformation. So we're going to kind of walk through we're going to bring in the business context and shift gears a little bit and focus on that digital transformation aspect. So what is digital transformation? Digital transformation, it's an ongoing process, a continuous process. It's about bringing together business and technology in order to deliver better outcomes for customers, for users. Many of you may already be familiar with the concept of digital transformation and some of the challenges that businesses large and small have experienced in transforming their business operations. What was an absolutely important priority before, there's always been digital transformation going on and growing for a long time, has become critical nowadays. And that's what I talked about. And that's also why I'm so excited, especially being in a product management role, being focused on helping companies create the best products that they can, and creating those products for those companies is the language of our time, whether with distributed workforces, with customers seeking digital solutions over physical interactions, or just, hey, what is that next risk that I'm going to have to do? Or, man, I need to catch up. My users are behaving differently today. How do I better engage with them? How do I come out of this stronger? How do I invest into some of these new challenges, into these new risks to get ahead of the competition and stay ahead? And that's why digital transformation is not even so much, it's not so much a project or an endpoint. It's a continual process, because even once you've maybe modernized your applications, you need to continuously keep modernizing them. You need to continuously be studying and understanding your users, your market, your capabilities. And that's what digital transformation, when done well, is. Why are companies pursuing digital transformation? I've touched on this a little bit. Despite understanding what digital transformation is, unfortunately, not everyone understands the why. And when you think about what a product manager, what their role, they set that North Star, but their job is to provide clarity to everybody about the why and the what. They should be able to always connect it up to the key business objective, to why everything is happening, what needs to happen, and how we're going to, and then work with all the other teams about how we're going to get there. It's about being better able to respond to the customer's needs. And at the end of the day, nearly all companies are pursuing digital transformation in order to capture additional business or customer outcomes, growing revenue, improving the experience, improving products, improving the ability to innovate, reducing costs. I think underlying all of this, there's always that cohesive theme, that end-to-end theme of de-risking. What's that top risk that's gonna maybe get my product off course, get the company off course? How do I eliminate that? How do I maneuver around that? How do I pivot into a better situation for the product, for the company as a whole? And so when you look beyond that, a key thing is to note is when you look at the market as a whole, when you look at every company out there that's working on digital transformation, 70% do not reach their goals. And that's fundamental. And we're going to connect that up for you in just a moment. 70%, I'll say that again, of digital transfer initiatives do not reach their goals. It's evidently important priority for enterprises, but few can candidly say they've made that transformation a sustainable and ongoing program within their organization. Even worse, flawed strategies produce significant costs, not least the opportunity cost of being able to harness the power of customer data to fuel better decisions. But at the end of the day, a lot of digital transformation initiatives are lacking kind of that product management thinking. They're lacking that product, even more important, that product mindset, that focus on the outcomes, connecting it to the business values, not focusing on story points, not focusing on finishing necessarily this feature or that feature. You got to focus on the goals. Let's make sure that next feature is perfectly aligned with those goals. And what can we do to continuously make sure that as we're building towards a feature or towards a capability, that it's still on track, that the market hasn't changed, the users haven't changed, or maybe our assumptions were wrong. And so if our assumption is wrong, can we catch it sooner before we invest too much work or money into something? And so that's where a lot of the value of the product manager comes in. The questions that must be asked to stay on track, to make sure we reach those goals, are why. Transformation fails because there's focus on those internal processes. They view it as a lot of people view it as a departmental initiative rather than company-wide. They execute on the how. As I mentioned, the actions, not the why, or they see it as an event or a milestone. And if we look further upstream, all these are symptoms of a single core problem: the failure to put customers' needs, business goals first at the heart of digital transformation. And that's how you get success. That's how you move things forward. So let's zero in on that a little bit more. So how do you do that? And that kind of brings us to the core of what we're talking about here. When we're talking about that product management, product manager-driven digital transformation, that is what the product manager is able to empower and enable for digital transformation. And that is why it is so critical to have that product mindset layered in, often driven by that product management capability. And I don't mean a souped up scrum master or project manager. I mean someone whose every day is about making sure that everything is working towards that North Star, that the experiments are ongoing, that continuously everything is being validated, that risks are being eliminated, assumptions are being confirmed or denied, and things are moving forward. First, product managers de-risk the investments. Contrary to how product managers are typically viewed, they do not help manage risk in the development build process, but rather they tackle system-wide risks. This de-risking can take various forms. When you're looking at market risks, it's about avoiding wasting resources building the wrong products. Financial risks, overshooting on budgets or building, marketing and maintaining products. Technical risk, making sure that products go into the market are fit for the purpose and don't pose additional risk. You're looking at that product market fit, that problem solution fit, operational risk, putting the wrong people or skills on projects or missing out on the input from important stakeholders. Product managers manage these risks by having the requisite knowledge and understanding of the market landscape, the organization, most importantly, the end user. I've said that many times, but I'll probably say that again. No, because at the end of the day, it's about solving problems for people and being able to help spot potential issues by validating unknowns before they emerge as problems. It's about staying ahead of the curve. And they apply a product mindset so that you are continuously innovating in order to provide the best possible products to your customers. Digital transformation is all about connecting people, processes, technology. The product manager is in that perfect spot to bring together the right people across all sorts of disciplines, across all sorts of business units and expertise to develop and drive the innovation and just drive towards that ideal market outcome. So product managers work collaboratively with stakeholders across the org to drive focus on customers and outcomes. Product manager has a dedicated focus on solving customer pain points. Where your technical lead determines the how, and your project manager lead and your project lead sets the when. The product manager defines the why, and helps shape the what. Their priority is aligning business objectives and ensuring product market fit. To distinguish, the product manager will advocate for customers on behalf of end users' needs, motivations, values, whereas the technical lead is focused on engineering outcomes, and the project lead is focused on managing project milestones, resources, unblocking people, making sure all the boxes that were established are getting checked off. Product managers track how successful they are at fulfilling this function by focusing on key outcomes. It's outcomes is what's important. It's not the actions. It's not the check boxes. It's the outcomes. Are we in tune with the market? Are we growing our user base? Do we have a clear, coherent, flexible product strategy? Are we on track with the product roadmap? Is that roadmap written in stone? Because I sure hope not. I hope we're keeping it dynamic and flexible, and that's what the product manager is there. If we learn something tomorrow that changes things, then let's change it and adapt. Are we capturing the value of the user testing, of understanding what the users and what we're validating and invalidating? It is critical for these types of roles to work collaboratively in driving forward the digital transformation efforts. Without that, efforts become siloed and the success of the initiative is put at risk. Even more importantly, when you think but how does a product manager do this? And so a product manager, as a central figure in that digital transformation effort, there's a lot of strategies that they're able to leverage. Now, product managers is not so much, product management is process agnostic at the end of the day. There's never a one size fits all to the approach. Different companies have fall in different spaces along the spectrum of product mindset and process mindset, and different teams fall in different places. Different products kind of fall in different places of that spectrum. So product manager adapts to those environments. They come with the great toolkit of strategies that they can leverage depending on the context, situation, desired outcomes. In practice, this can look like things as optimizing user value through continuous innovation, engaging different teams and stakeholders through storytelling and leveraging product vision, understanding customers' motivations and values by developing user personas and zeroing in on problem statements, inspiring the teams, the units, the people, deliver great products with metrics and prioritized roadmap, de-risking continuously experimenting with hypothesis-driven development. So these are a lot of the different tools. They don't get used on every product, but a great product manager is going to have these in their back pocket and adapt to different problems, to different people, different scenarios and teams to deliver on those great and evolving outcomes that everyone's looking for. Successful digital transformation as led by a product manager. It's at the end of the day, it's one that's rooted in continuous innovation, people-oriented, outcome-driven, highly empathetic, experimental, yet risk-defined, problem-centric. Product managers are in a unique position to be able to drive this sort of meaningful organization-wide change. So at the end of the day, if I leave you with anything, a question I want you to kind of be asking yourself is, so how will you begin to adjust your approach and leverage product managers to supercharge your digital transformation, your continual digital evolution in your own company? And I'll leave you with that. And I'll just end with a big thank you to everyone who joined today. And on your digital transformation journeys. And hopefully this shed a little bit more light for everyone today about how to better leverage product management in digital transformation and especially leveraging it through the current macro environment that we all find ourselves in to a better tomorrow. So again, thank you, everyone. I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It was an insightful presentation. So let's hop into the questions. The first question is, do you have examples to share with us from companies that have successfully reached their digital transformation goals? Can you share with us the three top learnings coming from them?
Well, I can't share the companies themselves, but I'll say I think often when a company kind of sometimes first identifies that they need to kind of go on that digital transformation journey because of some of the examples that I listed before. I think a lot of those conversations, when I look at them, they often start with, "Hey, we went agile, but things aren't working," or "I don't know where my customers are," or "Wow, I can't, like, it's going to take us 9 months to come up with a new way to get a product out the door," or "We're building feature X, we're going to see in 6 months, but I don't know, why are we doing it? Because the competition did it." Hopefully that's not the why. So there's a lot of kind of different signals along the way that kind of trigger a lot of those digital transformation conversations. At the end of the day, successful digital transformation, there's a lot of layers to it. There's the building of the product, but also I think through just building of the product, wherever you are as a company, you also naturally evolve, because product management also works better. It's not about selling product management at the end of the day. I contextualize it for product management because that's kind of the theme here, but it's about the product mindset. And so product management evolves the way a company internally evolves through the building of products. From success comes evolution, and that evolution is a positive evolution to be a more dynamic company, to be a company that's more competitive. And so through a good digital transformation, through good product management, you should be looking at reducing your cost by 30%. You should be driving value 30% or greater, much greater than that, depending on the types of initiatives. The digital transformation should be tied to direct material impact for your company.
Okay. So do you think that companies that achieve their digital transformation goals will easier transition to a PLG model?
To what model?
To a product-led growth model.
So I think companies that have gone through digital transformation are better positioned for it. I think at the end of the day, there's cultural aspects of that. And so, like, I can give a more specific example. So I'm in the part of the organization where we build the products. We build the products for the companies. And so we have a lot of experts that make that happen, experts in product all around the world. And so we do that part. And from that perspective, building these products basically helps evolve the company. So they become much more product-oriented, product mindset. It's not about going in there to directly change the culture, but the culture changes because we're showing a way to be more nimble, and we help kind of coach so a lot of that product mindset along those ways. Now, there's other parts, there's like the consulting part of our business that also is great, because what they do is they'll get in there and do a lot more of that business process transformation, especially where someone might say, "Hey, we want to be agile, or we want to be lean, and how do I create that?" So they kind of go more process transformation. But I always like to kind of lead with the product, because through demonstrated success, that's where everyone wants more of that, and that's where everyone starts to lean in and evolve towards that product-led growth mindset there.
Yes, definitely. So product management is not necessarily the first priority for many organizations. For example, in smaller organizations, a product manager might not be included in the first hires, and in bigger ones, sales might still take the lead. Do you think that this will change?
Oh, it is changing. It's changing everywhere.
Already.
Yeah, I work, before I was at Cognizant. I worked with people all around the world, and there's different people in different places along that spectrum, where all around the world. I think the closer you get to Silicon Valley, the more they're further to one side of that spectrum than the other. But fundamentally, like, people, it's about the outcomes, and the question that everyone's asking is, how do I make sure that what we're working on is moving towards those outcomes? How do I know that what we're building is going to have those results that we need it to have in 6 months? And so what is happening, when it's being led by sales, that's fine, but I can tell you there's some grumpy people in the C-suite that aren't happy with where it's going. And for a smaller company, guess what? The CEO's usually, if it's a startup, the CEO is usually that first product person. But what I also see, I work with a lot of startups as well outside of my current role. And those startups, it's increasingly becoming, this might not be the first, but it might be the third hire. And they understand that their job as the CEO is to keep the business running, but they need someone who's dispassionately focused on the product and making the best decisions for the product to move it forward. And as a CEO, as a founder, it's sometimes kind of hard to do that.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I think you covered us very well. Thank you for your presentation, your answers to my questions. I believe that you were very insightful and knowledgeable. So thank you. And I wish that we talk again soon in the future, maybe to the next PLG Disrupt next year.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'd love to do that. Hopefully in person next time. That would be great.
Of course, hopefully in person with a grandiose setting, of course.
I would love that.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
So stay tuned. In the next minutes, we're just preparing the next speaker. In the next minutes, we're hopping back in with a special guest and speaker from Catalyst. So stay tuned.